What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special episode of the Los Wise Guys podcast. I am Dan, aka Papa Sun Killer, accompanied by Dan, aka Disco, aka Lord Disco, aka Emperor Disco, aka the Lord Emperor Disco.
Oh yeah, keep it coming. Lord Emperor Mayor Disco here.
Lord Emperor Mayor. I love how it goes. It goes like your lord, your emperor, then mayor. Like there's no president, there's no governor, senator. It went to mayor.
Just mayor. This is a pivotal political
Oh
standpoint.
man, there we go. Comptroller Disco, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man. So, welcome to the Los Wise Guys podcast. Like I said, normally there is three of us. Eslam is still surviving on the islands of Ramadan and with the Ramadanians and doing the best he can out there. He should be back on the upcoming episode 2 weeks from now. I'm having trouble speaking. My back hurts. So we're going to see if I can get through this. But we are going to kind of do a little bit of housekeeping here. So if you want to follow Disco or Eslam or myself, be sure to follow us at our social media handles, which are right there on the bottom. That's LWG_Eslam, Emperor.disco, and LWG_Dan Rosado. Tell us what you think about everything, and if you're nice, we might not ignore you. Also, you can go ahead and like, subscribe, share, and rate and review, and don't forget to comment below. Go ahead and do that. Interact with us, engage with us. We love doing that. We love talking to you guys, whether it be on the Twitch, whether it be on the YouTubes, whether it be on LosWiseGuys.com. That's right. We got a website. Your boy's got a site. That's where you could go ahead and check out everything we're doing, including the LWG FEGLS 4. That's season 4 of the Los Wise Guys Fantasy Video Game League, where I don't know who's in first place anymore. I just don't know. I wanted to keep a lot more track this year. I'm gonna be real with you, Disco. I haven't looked at that thing for about fucking a month. So I don't know.
Damn.
And I'm usually on point.
Now's my chance to scope.
It really is. It really is everybody's opportunity to go out there and be like, hey, my eyes are not on the prize, so go after it. See what we could do there. But
hey, you got to make it fair for us.
hey, I didn't win last year, so at this point, I mean, I was runner up. You know, I'm not
You
the
didn't
favorite.
win?
No,
Oh,
I didn't
snap.
win. That was Walter. Man, we did this in December. You just found out.
I be forgetting. I don't know.
I know sometimes, you might go out there and watch the wrong show. But what we're going to talk about here.
I got to tell you all about that.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into it. As you can see on the rolling ticker that's on the bottom of the screen, if you're watching the video version of the podcast on YouTube or twitch.tv/Los Wise Guys, you see that we're going to be talking about WrestleMania 40. In other words, WrestleMania XL. In other words, WrestleMania Extra Large. So, WrestleMania 40 has occurred. It's rough.
Wrestle morning.
It's gonna be tough to go. I'm tired. My family was here most of this time. They're here for like a full week, like a full-on 7 days, and it felt like a full-on 7 months. My back hurts. But yeah,
man,
so
they blew your back out.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. So I'm trying to get through this episode the best I can, talk about the sport I love. But yeah, man. So we both saw WrestleMania 40. So first off, thank you, Disco. You are not the biggest wrestling fan in any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like you appreciate it. You appreciate it for what it is. And you went through a lot. That was more or less around 8 hours, in your case a little bit more, of of wrestling. Tell the people what happened. Tell the people why you watched more.
I just couldn't get enough of WrestleMania. I just was so enthusiastic.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
So as Dan said, I'm not like the hugest fan or even a fan in the slightest, really. I watched in the Stone Cold Rock era like a million years ago.
Attitude
Then I stopped. But because it was a topic for the week, I was like, you know what, I'll watch it. And so I watched the first day, the Saturday, was it April 6th one or whatever.
Mhm.
And then I tried to go to the next one. And then, so I somehow got jumbled up in Peacock. I clicked WrestleMania thinking like, okay, yeah, it'll be updated. It was not updated. So I ended up watching season 39 of the WrestleMania. And so I clicked the Sunday special and I watched I watched damn near the whole thing, pretty much. Before I realized, wait a minute, this is last year's.
Because you saw last year's a little bit too. That's the thing.
Because apparently I did see like
For the
last
podcast.
year's, and I don't for the podcast, and
Yeah.
I just didn't remember. So I remember looking at the Asuka match versus Belair, and I was like, this looks kind of familiar. But fuck it, I like Asuka. Kick some ass.
You know what? Bianca Belair versus Asuka was a good match. I wouldn't be mad if I saw it a second time. Asuka can kick ass. So
I was getting into it and whatnot, and the next thing you know, I'm just like noticing little hints and clues that I was like watching the wrong one because I noticed they were back in LA. So I was like, wait a minute, I thought they were
that's a big clue.
I was like, I thought they were in somewhere cold. What did you say, Philly?
Philadelphia.
Yeah. So I was like, wait a minute, hold on, something's up. But I'm not a big fan, so I was like, fuck it, you know what? Let's just finish this. And I was trooping it through. It's not exactly on the top of my list of things to watch, but it was interesting. And then I finally got to the final match, which was the same people from this year.
Main event, yeah, the same.
Romans versus Cody Rhodes, and so I'm like, okay, let's get ready, and then I noticed a random fact that they said last year, and it's something that I guess will resonate with me. They said like, oh, Roman has a 950 something like win streak, and then I was like, and then the bells went off in my head.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that was the same number from last year. There's no way he's like still has the same amount of wins. And so then I realized that I fucking watched the wrong season, like the 39 instead of 40. And so then I was just like, damn, I have to watch a whole nother one. I legit went through a whole slew of emotions, just like, shit, I fucked up big. Like, damn. I was really upset with myself because I had thought I was done. I thought I was like, yeah, almost trooped through this. Like, it's not the same watching it nowadays. I prefer watching it through the lens of like your Powerbomb Weekly, when you like recap everything and give all the background details and make it into a story. I was watching it and I was just like,
yeah, you needed my commentary.
It looks better in my head.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, obviously, so one of the reasons why this happened, Disco didn't watch it live, which I recommended. Even I was like, hey, if you're gonna do it, watch it afterwards so you can like skim through it and stuff. Because as much as I love wrestling, I'm gonna be honest with you, there is a lot of filler that you can just get through. And what
it was pretty good though. Sorry to cut you off. The season 39 was pretty good. I really like the Edge versus the Demon.
Yeah,
I was watching
the second
that,
time,
like,
Finn Balor,
I was balls deep, like, damn.
This man split his head open a second time. That's crazy. 2 years in a row.
That's good writing.
But yeah, man, that's another thing. I think it's a Peacock thing that they call it season and like episode and all that stuff, because I feel like that's another thing where it's like it's straight up just WrestleMania 40. The only time it's referred to as a season is when you go onto Peacock. I think that makes it a little bit more confusing too, because it's like if you want to watch a WrestleMania, it's like here's seasons 1 through 40 of WrestleMania, and then you go from there. It's like that's just weird. Just call it here's WrestleMania 1, here's WrestleMania 2, here's WrestleMania 3, which is, I don't know, it's awkward the way they do. I don't like that. Another thing Peacock does is, like you said, Disco, sometimes it takes them a minute to upload the full thing. Like if you're watching a show live, and let's say it's a regular pay-per-view or anything, whatever, on Peacock wrestling thing, if you try to go back and watch it, you have to give it some time. It's not immediate. So you probably went there right a little bit too soon where it hadn't been uploaded yet, and then you got WrestleMania 39.
I did. It was quite the experience, the roller coaster.
Yeah.
It was not bad though. They had the Gunther, Sheamus,
dude. That's one of my favorite matches. That might be my favorite match from last year.
It started off with Brock Lesnar. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Had a nice little lineup.
Yeah, it was a lot. But yeah, so anyway, we're talking about WrestleMania 40 this time. Oh, one other thing. The fact that it was Philadelphia than LA. That like, granted, there was one WrestleMania that did take place in 3 different locations. Like, and it was WrestleMania 2, and it took place, I think, in like New York. I want to say somewhere in California and somewhere in the middle of the country. I forget where. And it was, I mean, it went down as one of the not greatest WrestleManias. And
did the wrestlers actually Did the wrestlers actually have to fly like across country to,
Well, no, I mean,
or
well,
did they just have different wrestlers like
exactly. You had
in the
different
different
wrestlers at
states?
different arenas, and then they went there. I mean, it wasn't a like it is now. It was probably at that point it was what, maybe a 3-hour show, if that, and that's it.
Mm,
And now it's like 2 4-hour shows, and the WrestleMania I went to was like a 1 day, like 8-hour show. They just took that show and split it in half.
damn.
But yeah, and that's not counting pre-shows. So yeah, so while Disco went ahead and saw WrestleMania 40 and half of WrestleMania 39, I still got you beat in terms of WWE watch this week, because I went ahead, I watched the both hours of SmackDown. I did see some of the bump on Saturday. That's like a wrestling talk show WWE has. I went ahead, I saw also on Friday after SmackDown the WWE Hall of Fame. There was the pre-show that was 2 hours long before WrestleMania Night 1 and WrestleMania Night 2, so that's another 4 hours. And also the NXT show that took place at 12 p.m. and ended at like 3 p.m. So it was another 3 hours of wrestling before one of the WrestleManias. All of that then followed by a 3-hour episode of Monday Night Raw. So that's just WWE. That's not counting AEW. That's not counting Impact or New Japan Pro Wrestling or anything else that I've been watching.
Damn, this man is die hard. He cannot. He cannot.
So yeah, it's a lot. So whenever I say something like to the fact that I'm jaded sometimes when it comes to wrestling, you can imagine why. Like
Yeah,
it's a lot of shit. It's a lot of
man
shit
puts
I'm
his
watching.
hours in.
So
I'm
we had
tired. I'm
that
tired for you. That's like a whole day's worth of.
multiple days. Like it's yeah. But anyway, we're here to talk about WrestleMania 40. Now, one of the things I want to mention that like I said, all the other things that happen, WWE Hall of Fame, always one of my favorite events every year. This year, the headliner was the Advocate, the Wise Man, Paul Heyman. Arguably, some people there's no argument at all. The greatest manager in professional wrestling history. Jesus, Paul Heyman's a badass. The man, he was Paul E. Dangerously in the WCW days. He went to ECW. Uh, I'm sorry, he made ECW. Like he was the one who ran Extreme Championship Wrestling once they changed from Eastern Championship Wrestling. A lot of what we enjoy in pro wrestling today exists because of Paul Heyman. Then he goes to WWE, fucking just dominates there as a manager. At one point, they're just like, hey, uh, Monday Night Raw is the A show. We're splitting Raw and SmackDown together. We want you to run the B show, SmackDown. Guess what? SmackDown became the best wrestling show. It topped Raw every week while Paul Heyman was in charge. Paul Heyman knows his shit. And it's funny when he went out there and he was giving a speech, everybody's just clapping. They're saying thank you, and they're chanting, "You deserve it." And the first thing he says is, "You're damn right, I fucking deserve it." Like the badass he is. He went on to create an amazing speech. He praised Triple H because now we're in the Triple H era. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And yeah, man, just seeing Paul Heyman go in the Hall of Fame is great. There were a lot of other inductees that went in the Hall of Fame. The U.S. Express, Leah Maivia, The Rock's grandmother, Muhammad Ali is in the WWE Hall of Fame officially. We had all of them, and I'm blanking on some other people, and I do apologize for that. I just can't right now. I'm just exhausted. But Hall of Fame was a great ceremony, so I just wanted to bring that up. And also for the WrestleMania main event, night 1 and night 2, some of my favorite moments were just watching what Paul Heyman was doing ringside while he held on to Roman Reigns' title and made faces. I love it. So anyway, WrestleMania. Let's get into it. So let's talk about night 1. First match on the card, if I remember correctly, was Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the WWE for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Becky Lynch, the man, has been like one of the top wrestlers, not even women's wrestlers, just straight up top wrestlers for many years now. Once she reached that status of the man and became the top wrestler in the company for quite some time. And she went up against Rhea Ripley, aka Mommy. And hey, man, Rhea Ripley is just getting bigger and bigger every year in terms of popularity. I know that since you saw some of WrestleMania last year, I'm sure you've seen Rhea Ripley in the past. But what's your take on her?
Um, I just feel like compared to Becky Lynch, she was like huge, like physically, size wise.
Oh
So I
yeah,
felt like she had all the power,
yeah,
and but Becky Lynch they put on a great show, and it was a
absolutely,
nice back and forth. But I just think because of her size and her just sheer strength, I think she can go far. And
absolutely.
she has a really cool persona, from my experience, with the
Also, she's
face
really
paint and
young.
all that
She's like
stuff.
in her like
Yeah.
mid-20s.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
So she's got a lot of time to perfect her craft
exactly.
and fine tune her technique. But yeah, I think what I wrote down she won with the double riptide. I was like, okay, okay.
Oh yeah. Fun fact. So you know how she's called Mommy. Do you know the story behind that name?
I do not know, but
So,
I was laughing at their nicknames, the
oh
man
yeah.
versus mommy. I was like,
Oh yeah. So, many, many years ago, there was a wrestler that went by the name of Eddie Guerrero, and his son, now Dominic, I'm sorry, his alleged son at the time, Dominic Mysterio, the son of Rey Mysterio, who currently wrestles. He dates um, Rhea Ripley, not for real, just on the show. And the storyline way back when was Rey Mysterio had his son, and the storyline was Eddie was just like, "Hey Ray, that's my son. I'm his poppy." So now Rhea Ripley dates Dominic. She's like, "Well, I'm his mommy," and that's how she got the mommy nickname.
ah, I'm glad it stuck because it makes the the perfect nickname.
It really is, and it's like when she first did it, there was the classic Eddie Guerrero "I'm Your Poppy" shirts, which was great. Because that was his last like big storyline before he passed away. So even when he passed away and people were buying Eddie Guerrero shirts, that was the shirt. It was the "I'm Your Poppy" shirt. So that shirt became iconic. Then move forward years later. Dominic grew up. He's a wrestler, and they utilize that same storyline. Also, shout out to Dominic. He's the biggest fucking heel in the company, and he does such a good job at it. I mean, kid's fucking amazing. Like people hate him. Anytime he grabs a microphone, all they do is boo and don't give him a chance to speak. Like that is true heat. It is
Uh,
incredible.
Sounds like a scumbag.
And that's what they call him. They call him Dirty Dom. Like they call him a scumbag. Like he's a piece of shit because he beat up Rey Mysterio, who people love. Speaking of people that love Rey Mysterio, happy birthday, Henry. Rey Mysterio is his favorite wrestler, and I always shit on Rey because of it. Didn't Ray wear a shirt saying "You're my poppy"? No, no, it didn't happen. It was just the "I'm your poppy" shirt that Eddie made, and then Ray wore it. When Eddie passed away, that was like a thing. But yeah. So anyway, we had that going on, and then I'm not going to go through every single match. I'll just run through some stuff real quick. Let's see. There was that. Speaking of Rey Mysterio, let's jump into that. We had Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. Um, this match was the Legado del Fantasma versus the LWO, the Latino World Order, and it ended with two footballs running in and interfering. Yeah, I don't know. It's what did you think of it, Disco?
There's two things that I caught my eye.
Mm.
Just the tension between Mysterio and Dominic was just
Oh yeah,
funny and fun to watch. Just and Dominic just he just has that douchebag look with his hair and
oh yeah,
his little get up. But two things that I liked were the double cross body thing where Andrade picked up Rey Mysterio and they
and
both
he was
kind of
on
just
top. That
jump
was really
slammed.
cool. That was
I
cool.
was like, oh, that was actually pretty dope. Like, a lot of the stuff I see is like fake, like the slapping, but like that stuff takes real skill where you're getting the timing and then the spacing right and then making it look good.
Hmm.
And that in my opinion looked good. There
Yeah,
was like just a double body slam. And also they had I don't know their names, but like one of the dudes jumped on the bottom rope and then they like
and then
flung him
they
with
launched
the
him. Yeah,
like he just flew like a
with
rocket.
the
I was like,
LWO. Yeah.
if he missed, he would have been in trouble. But I thought that was pretty cool from that match.
Oh yeah, I mean the match. I mean you have great wrestlers in there. Honestly, Andrade has been one of the best wrestlers in the world for quite a few years now. He wasn't originally supposed to be in this match either, Disco. It was originally supposed to be Rey Mysterio and with a mystery partner. And it's like when he's just like, oh, I'm going to choose who my partner is going to be. And everybody in that arena on SmackDown that night was chanting, Carlito, Carlito. Carlito's in the ring. It's like, fuck yeah, we're getting Carlito. And then he's like, well, my partner is Dragon Lee. And I was like, oh, I mean, I guess that's cool too. Like Dragon Lee is cool. I like him a lot. He is considered like the modern day Rey Mysterio, or will be. And on all honesty, I think he's already surpassed Rey in terms of wrestling ability in some cases before anybody kills me. And then what they did, it was just like, hey, a lot of people wanted to see Carlito. We got Dragon Lee. Let's fix this. So they injured Dragon Lee and are like, okay, so since Dragon Lee is not going to be in there because he's quote unquote injured, he's going to get replaced. Not by Carlito, though, by Andrade.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Who was not involved in the storyline at all. Literally, it was the week before. Not even the week before. This happened on Saturday, right? This WrestleMania? It was on Friday.
Yeah.
That they revealed Andrade was going to be in the match.
So the night before?
The night before on SmackDown. Yeah, that's when it happened. I just remember.
He did some solid wrestling, though.
Andrade's amazing.
He was a solid-ass partner.
Oh, yeah. When I found out he was in the match, I was like, I'm fine with this. Andrade's good. He's better than everybody else in that match. Let's be real.
He was putting on the moves.
Oh, yeah. Also, his wife, Charlotte Flair. His father-in-law is Ric Flair. Ric Flair's last match, Andrade was a tag team partner trying to keep Rick alive. So we had that. And let's move forward. Let's move forward to the 6-pack tag team ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. That's not right. It was for the Raw Tag Team Championship and the SmackDown Tag Team Championship separately. There was a lot of men in this match, Disco. What'd you think of this one?
Was this the ladder one?
The ladder one.
The six
teams. So that was 12 wrestlers in one match for 4 belts.
That thing was wild. When it started, it had like 12 men or whatever, how many dudes in the ring. It was like little roaches just like running at each other, and then they're scattering. But I do like how they kind of like get knocked out or whatever, like on the outside of the ring. So it allows like certain few key like plot players to link up and do their little one-on-ones or whatever.
Yeah, have their little spots.
I like how they kind of break that up for the audience, and I'm pretty sure it's more apparent on the TV because you're not able to actually see the people knocked out or like whatever on the outside. So it's kind of interesting how they did that. I liked
the referees play a very big part of that, just so you know.
Oh yeah.
With the earpieces and everything, they're communicating with the back and the wrestlers. It's a lot.
I see. And I think Awesome Truth won this one. I like them. I've heard Truth. Yeah. I heard about Truth before, how he's just the dumbass and the silly goose. And I think even in this one, he like pinned some dude. Like I was like, what?
He got tagged in. There's no tags. He did the same thing when I went to Royal Rumble with Rudy. The same exact thing where it's like, it's a Royal Rumble. You just go in the ring and fight. And he was quote unquote part of Judgment Day. So at Royal Rumble, Dominic Mysterio is getting beat up. And he's like, Dom, tag me. And Dominic's like, I'm getting my ass kicked. Just come in the ring. And then he's like, tag me. And they did the same thing with The Miz. So he did that. And the funny thing is, so he went in the mat. He went in. So he goes to Miz. He's like, hey, Miz, tag me in. Doesn't need it, but Miz understands at this point. Miz tags him in. He comes in and he emulates his childhood hero, his favorite wrestler, John Cena. Mind you, R-Truth is older than and has wrestled longer than John Cena. But John Cena is his childhood hero. So he hits John Cena's 5 moves of doom and then pins, and for a full 3 count, pins his opponent. He does, it just didn't matter. But
he won in my heart. It's funny because after he's done being a dumbass, he like comes in and just busts ass. Like he's super athletic, slamming him, jumping, and doing all these crazy moves. I was like,
dude, this dude's really... he's over 50 years old. He was like the oldest man in that match.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
he was moving like a freaking Hulk over there.
Well,
strong.
One thing I want to mention, you said that you were watching wrestling back in the Attitude Era with Rock and Austin and them. He was in that era. He wrestled then. He went under the name K Quick. So yeah, Truth has been around for forever, dude.
Well, I'm glad he found his little niche character and is getting his screen time. Maybe he can get some more popularity because I mean, clearly he won this match, so he's definitely getting this.
That's one of the things I want to talk about. So because there were 4 titles, or 4 belts, but 2 titles, there were 2 teams that won. So remember, there was the SmackDown titles and the Raw titles.
Oh yeah,
The
the
SmackDown
Grayson and
titles,
some other dude.
Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, A-Town Down Under is the name of their tag team. They won the SmackDown tag titles, and then they died. They put him through a ladder.
Slammed him through a ladder.
Yeah.
It looked like he wasn't breathing after that. He's like,
You know,
with the belt still in his shoulder.
yeah,
Like,
Grayson Waller just died. That was the end of that. And then that's when they had the other titles up for grabs, and that's where Awesome Truth, who's never won a tag team tag team title before, they did it. This is the first time Truth has ever won a match in WrestleMania. Like I said, he's been around since the Attitude Era. This is the first time he's won a match at WrestleMania.
So it's actually a pretty big deal.
Oh yeah, having
For
Truth
him,
win was great. I've been saying it for in the past few years recently. I want R-Truth to win a world title, because when he does it, he's not going to understand what happened, and we're all going to love it. It's going to be
by accident.
100%. And now the thing, he was in TNA for a little bit too, and he was their world champion in TNA. He can be a very serious character when he needs to be, but he just does so good at the comedy. But anyway, let's move forward. So we got that. Another quick match. We got Bianca Belair, Naomi, Jade Cargill versus Damage Control. This is a really quick match. I mean, maybe not even like 15 minutes, I think. This was the coming out party for Jade Cargill. This was her first non-Royal Rumble match. She had kicked ass in AEW for a while. She was signed by WWE, and this was just basically a big spotlight for her. And she did not disappoint. Also, Bianca Belair always kills it. Naomi kills it, and Damage Control is filled with amazing, phenomenal wrestlers. They're not going to let you down with Asuka and Coda. Kairi Sane. Jesus. She's like my favorite one out of all of them. I forgot her name. Pirate Princess, Kairi Sane. So yeah, man. What'd you think of that match?
That one was I definitely like the synergy between Asuka and Kairi and Dakota. But but I just feel like the other team, Naomi and Bianca and Jay, are just so much stronger and just have like that athleticism behind their back. Especially when Jade came on the ring, it was just like She-Hulk. It was just pure dominance. Just like, do not mess with her. She was strong. It just came out very strong. You felt you felt the energy and the control, and she had Naomi and Bianca to back her up. So it was just like solid team. And as much as I like Asuka, and I like that like kind of Asian flair, the high flyer and the quick like slipperiness, they couldn't get past that Jade wall and just the pure muscle over there.
Yeah, for real. I mean, when Jade Cargill was in AEW, she one of her first matches, she won the TBS championship, and she held on to it for her entire run in AEW. She was undefeated until the very end. She finally got beat. And then, then she left AEW. So it's like her entire existence at another company was just her beating people, with the exception of like one, maybe I think her last match. She might have lost her last 2. And then she goes to WWE, and just here it is again. We're just getting more dominance. So, yeah, man, we got some great wrestlers in there. Looking forward to see what they're going to do with Jade in the future, because she's just getting started. Then we got another one here. We got Jay versus Jimmy, Uso versus Uso. What'd you think of that?
I thought it was an okay match. I don't know.
Exactly.
I feel like I like the premise that they're going with, like, twins going, but I just felt like didn't have enough steam to carry it. I didn't really care about the match. I don't feel like either of them were too athletic or like I don't know. Just the pairing didn't match up to me. It just felt like the whole thing was riding on that. Oh, but they're brothers, and then what? Jimmy turned on Jay, and I think Jimmy was like, "Oh, forgive me," and then Jay was like, "Okay," and then Jimmy ended up kicking him
This little super kick.
try to get the advantage on him, and I don't know. I just felt like it was cheesy.
That's honestly that's all that happened in the match. There was a kind of a little bit of back and forth. The betrayal, Jay wins. That's the match,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
it
that
sucks,
literally
man. Yeah, because
was
I
it.
was like, that was my most anticipated match of the night. Not gonna lie, Jimmy
Oh
versus
wow.
Jay. Yeah, so I was like, listen, these guys, they're the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions in history. They're a badass tag team. Love watching them. They split them up and they were doing their own individual things, and I've been loving it. I've been loving both of them. Jay's become the biggest fan favorite there is. Jimmy Uso is just going out there. He's being the best heel he could be. Like, they're doing a great job. So all that on paper, it's perfect. Two great wrestlers. They're brothers. Third time ever in WrestleMania history we have brother versus Brett versus Owen. Great match. Second time was Matt versus Jeff, the Hardys. Good match. Then we had Jimmy versus Jay, and man, it was a letdown. Not gonna lie, it's like there's no other way to put it. Like, these are two great wrestlers. I'm sure, like, give them another shot, they're gonna do better than this. They're gonna learn from this, and they're gonna go out and they're gonna kill it. It's just it was kind of a letdown because I know that's a match that they've been wanting to do. I've listened to them on podcasts for years talk about they really wish that they could have a one-on-one against each other at Mania. And this is what we got out of it. Maybe there was an issue with time and they had to go through things quickly. I don't know, but I do look forward to seeing them go at it again. I just hope it's gonna be a little bit better next time.
Yeah, I could totally see it still happening because Jimmy did betray Jay, and they're still even in to foreshadow, I guess, a little. They like came back and fought again in the second night.
Oh yeah. Well, they've been
I feel
feuding
like
for a while.
I feel like they're definitely gonna get their own next little match in. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's gonna be WrestleMania or whatever, but I could
could
definitely
be.
see that.
Yeah. Now let's move on to the next one. We have Rocky versus Drago. You should know which one I'm talking about.
Rocky versus Drago.
You saw the Rockies, man. You got to get that reference. Compared to, like, literally everything they did was Rocky.
I see. Is that the tag? No, the Sami Zayn one.
There it is. Sami Zayn versus Gunther. So
Yeah.
they kind of talked about it a little bit in the video package. I don't know if you got to see that or if you skimmed through that part where they, like, before the match starts, where it's Gunther. He's this undefeated champion. I think it was like 666 days they said at WrestleMania. He's been champion, longest reigning intercontinental champion ever in history. Sami Zayn was trying to go up against him. He got beat once. There was this guy, Chad Gable, who's another wrestler who tried going up against Gunther and couldn't do it. So Chad decides to take Sami under his wing and train him, similar to Apollo Creed trying to train Rocky in Rocky 3. And then he even says before Sami goes out to the match, he's like, hey, you got this. You're going out there alone. But remember, you owe me a favor, just like Rocky owed Apollo a favor. And then you have, like, they're in Philadelphia where Rocky is from. And you have the underdog going up against the unstoppable foreign competitor in Gunther. So it was just like all Rocky. Like, Adrian was his wife. Like,
I didn't put that together. That's so funny. Now that you're saying it, I'm like, oh.
They just
I
recreated
did see that.
Rocky.
I did see that part too with the wife and the kid. He's just like, oh, put the kid in the back. Like,
it's straight up there, just like, let's just fucking do Rocky. Like, let's do it. But one of my favorite things about this was before the match, where they did that long thing where he's talking to Chad Gable, hey, you owe me a favor. Hey, he's talking to his wife. He's telling them, hey, keep the kid in the back. I want to see this. Sammy's making that long walk. And before he gets there, Kevin Owens is standing in the ring. And I was like, fuck yes, let's go, Kevin. Because Disco, like, since you saw WrestleMania 39 twice, the main event of night one, which you didn't see, was Kevin and Sami versus the Usos for the undisputed tag team champs at that point. So they won the titles. And then night two, they were interfering in the main event to try to help Cody. So Sami and Kevin, they were split up. Kevin got moved to SmackDown. Sami stayed on Raw, but the friendship was still there. And this was the night where they were both going to be on the same show. That's why Kevin's like, you fucking got this. Like, and then that was like the last bit of motivation that got me. Like, when he saw Kevin, like, let's fucking go.
The last minute pump up. It worked too. After that, he like started slamming shit. Just like, started running up the ramp. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and it was a great match.
a cool like transition because you see him from being like, oh, I'm about to get my ass whipped, and with his family like, cover his eyes, and then next thing you know, you see that little persona pop out in him, and like the acting is good. They definitely killed it.
Yeah, Sammy's been one of my favorite wrestlers for many, many years now, man. So I always love seeing what he's doing. He's a great baby face. He's a great heel. When he's a heel, he's a piece of shit heel, and he's so good at it. Like, just Sammy's just good at everything he does. On the Indies, he was a Mexican wrestler named El Generico. Obviously, the man's not Mexican, so he would just wear a luchador mask and be like, "Hey, I can't speak English." Then you speak to him in Spanish. Turns out he can't speak Spanish either. So. The rumor has it that around the same time Sami Zayn went to WWE, El Generico moved to Mexico and opened up an orphanage, and he was never seen again. but yeah. So anyway, they go out, they have a match. Gunther, let's be real, Gunther is one of the best wrestlers ever. He's the guy. If anybody's going to take the title off of Cody, which spoilers when we get to it, I want Gunther to be the guy to do it. Let's be real, Gunther's that fucking good. So he goes out there, beats the shit out of Sami. Sammy's just, at one point he's just trying to get back up. You have Michael Cole and Pat McAfee ringside telling the ref, just stop the damn match. Just stop it. Sami doesn't want to end it. You ended for him. Save him. And then Sami gets motivated. He comes back, hits a couple of haluva kicks, and he comes out on top. He does it. He becomes Intercontinental Champion and ends the reign of Imperium. Really good.
Yeah, match. he got his ass kicked. It was a beating. I didn't think he was going to win, to be honest. But then he pulled out, like you said, those the haluva kicks. I think he did like 3 in a row.
Something like that. He kicked him in the back of the head and kicked him in the face. I was like, yeah, Gunther's just eating these.
He's still getting up.
Yeah, man. No, great match. That was my match of the night. Between everything there, I feel like that was the best one. In my opinion. Then we go to the main event. We got a bunch of R's here. We got Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins versus Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Roman Reigns in a tag team match to determine what the rules are going to be for the main event of WrestleMania Night 2.
Bloodline rules.
Yeah. So you tell me about this match, Disco. How'd you feel?
Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. I like Cody Rhodes. I don't know. He just has that like appeal, especially with the blonde hair. He just looks cool, like almost like an anime character. I was kind of upset with Seth Rollins. Like, I feel like he's a cool dude, but
you didn't like that. You didn't like his outfit? Is that what it was?
I don't like the injury theme that I felt like they were doing. I felt like a lot of the wrestlers were like, "Oh, bad knee," and I felt like
he really did hurt it though.
Oh, it really was hurt the whole.
That was like he almost didn't make it to WrestleMania, and then they're like, "Hey, don't wrestle at all for a while." So after I was reading it earlier today. Actually, he's actually going to be taken off of TV for a little bit. Nobody said why. I'm pretty sure it's to try to heal up some more before he gets back into the rigmarole. Yeah,
I see. So that was legit. I thought he was acting.
He ain't acting that good.
They're acting knee injuries because there was another like one of the women wrestlers had like a knee injury to. I think it was Lynch. I think she was like coming off a fever and a knee or something.
Also, that was legit. She had strep throat. Also, fun fact: the wife of Seth Rollins.
That's so funny. No wonder. But so I mean, that's one thing that kind of bothered me. I thought he was acting, but I guess if it's real legit, then he definitely pushed through.
I mean, I feel like he was definitely like over extension. Like if the man was hurt, they're gonna stop it. I mean, is he in pain? 100%. Especially the fact that he's being taken off of TV. And you saw Night 2 when they got to the main event. He really didn't do anything because I feel like, I think his leg's done. Like
they like immediately stopped him. What are you doing, guy? Get out of the
like immediately. I was like, oh, as soon as I saw that, I was like, shit, it's probably not that great.
But he was like climbing on the top rope and stuff, still doing stuff. So overall, I mean, I thought it was a great match. It's good to see The Rock and Roman Reigns is just they're huge ass people. Like they're so brolic in the ring. They really do look like like Hawaiian superheroes, Samoan superheroes
Yeah.
against these two regular dudes, Cody Rhodes and Rollins. Just like, um, it was let me see what I wrote here. The Rock pretty much said not to count whatever he wanted to bust some tail outside the ring.
Yeah, he tells the ref, "Don't count to" yeah, if you count to 10, yeah, if you count, I'm gonna fire you. If you count, you're fired, he says.
Yep. What do I have here? Oh! I think in this one, when Roman Reigns tackles The Rock, his face, I had to pause and rewind it. Rock had like this big baby face. I could not stop laughing. That had to have got memed. He got speared by Roman Reigns. I think it was the first one, and
Yeah.
then he had this like his mouth was all the way open. He had like the bald head. I could not stop laughing. Like a little kid that just was just like having a tantrum. But that was one of the memorable moments for me. Seeing the Rock get speared, just even seeing the Rock in action, just having him, for that initial tag in, just like I guess, I feel like I haven't seen that in a while. I don't know if he's been wrestling on any of the other shows, but like seeing that big tap in, it was like, oh snap, it's going down.
Yeah, so, just a little backstory on this, so, remember, on the podcast, talked a little while ago about how there's the, allegations against Vince McMahon with the whole Janelle Grant issue and everything that's going on. So around the time that happened, shortly after, Dwayne Johnson gets announced that he's on the board of directors for TKO, the parent company of WWE, or for WWE, I can't remember. Basically, he's one of the big bosses in WWE. That's why he told the ref, "Hey, if you count, you're fired," because The Rock actually is that man's boss.
I see.
So there is that. Now, what was happening was because this whole Vince McMahon thing was happening during that time, and let's be real, the WWE needed a win. They needed to get people to stop talking about the Vince McMahon rape allegations. So all of a sudden, The Rock becomes a member of the board. Then Cody Rhodes, who had won Royal Rumble and was going to fight the champion, went on SmackDown and introduces The Rock. And he's like, well, I'm not going to fight Roman. The Rock's going to do it. And everybody who in the WWE is like, wait, what? You won the Rumble. Why is The Rock going to fight? So people online start getting pissed off. No, we want Cody. Why is The Rock doing this? Why is it Rock versus Roman? It should be Cody. Cody's our favorite. We like him. And what do people stop doing? They stop talking about the Vince McMahon rape allegations. It worked.
Wow.
Yeah. So that happens. And then they're just like, okay, let's fix this again. So Triple H, smart, is just like, hey, let's go ahead and let's make The Rock a heel and be like, he took the thing away from Cody. I guess they forgot that we saw live on TV. Cody was like, no, I'm giving it to The Rock. Now all of a sudden Cody's like, why are you taking this from me? I won. It was like, no, we saw it, but okay, we'll act like we didn't. And then they had this big thing where Rock is going to fight Roman, and they're talking about the lineage of their families and this, that, and the other. And then Seth Rollins comes out and like, you guys are a bunch of bitches. You barely show up ever. I'm over here. I'm injured. I'm fighting every night. Roman shows up once every couple months. Rock shows up once every couple years. And here you are. Then Cody shows up. He's like, I want to fight Roman. So that's where they come up with the whole tag team match between Cody and Seth versus Rock and Roman. And then they were just building that up from there and on and henceforth. So not only that, that happens, and then there's me, personally, have never really been a fan of Dwayne. I'm like the one wrestling fan that doesn't put The Rock on this thing. Just this past week, I was talking to Rudy. I was just like, name some of the greatest wrestlers ever. Like Kurt Angle, name a good Kurt Angle match. And he named something. I was like, name a good Eddie Guerrero match. Name a good Shawn Michaels match, Triple H match. And then I said, okay, now name a good Rock match. And he didn't have an answer. Why? Because The Rock has never had a good match. Let's be real.
It's because there's too many to choose one from.
Oh,
duh.
Yeah. The Rock is one of the best talkers of all time, and I will give him that every day. When it comes to actual wrestling in the ring, the man does a people's elbow. Enough said. But
did you like when Cody Rhodes rock bottomed The Rock?
I guess The Rock was in a match and that upset me. Let's be real. Like at the end of the day, why is this overrated, overpaid Hollywood actor taking up a spot for a wrestler? That's all. Anytime I see The Rock show up or anybody who's a Hollywood actor, even Cena, I was like, why are you taking somebody's spot? The cool thing is Cena doesn't put himself in the main event. The Rock does. So it's like that could have gone to somebody else, but The Rock had to be in it. So that's why I was like, the whole time I was just like, man, this old bald ass man can't even move in the ring. He was breathing hard. He was struggling. For half the match, he wasn't there, Disco. Like he was legit trying to catch his breath. If you go back and watch it, and Roman was carrying that fucking match.
That's funny. Yeah.
So it's
And
like,
then
man,
he came in, swooped at the end to do a
exactly.
rock bottom and people's elbow, with trying to
Yeah.
get that nostalgia. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, it
Yeah.
was mainly for that Rock nostalgia. I felt like
That's what that match was. Yeah. So like I mentioned every year, and I was like, hey, this is for the Rudies, for the people who watched the last month or two before Mania, not for me who's been watching it for forever. That's not for me. It is for everyone else, but it's okay. But yeah, that happened. Then we got night 2. I'm going to run through this quickly because we spent a lot of time on night 1. Let's start off with Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. How'd you feel about that, Disco?
Let's see. McIntyre won. He threw a lot of claymores. This man kicked the shit out of Rollins. I just seemed like another claymore. It's like this guy's gonna have head damage. Rollins already got the bad knee. I would give it up to Rollins because, like you said, he really was injured. So I definitely thought he was acting. So I was like, man, it's kind of stupid. Like I feel like if you weren't acting into the injured role, you can show off a little more, and I guess that's what I was looking for. But since he was injured, I guess kudos to him for being diehard and passionate enough to. Because I know a lot of people would go out injured like that, especially with a knee. You don't come back from knee injuries like that. So, yeah, Drew McIntyre won, but overall, I think like it really picked up after that match when he started beefing with Punk and all that shit. So I felt like that was more entertaining than the actual match.
Yeah, so with the match itself, during night 2 of WrestleMania, I was actually I was on PlayStation. I had it on my what was it? I was on PlayStation playing Final Fantasy. I was talking to Rudy and Henry. WrestleMania started, so I was like, screw it. They want to talk to me and like see my reaction as I'm watching stuff. And Rudy was watching some of it here and there. So as stuff's happening, I remember I'm watching the match and I said a couple things. I was like, yeah, he's hitting a lot of claymores. And at that point, I'm just like, that's making his finish look real weak. Because that's a finisher. If you hit a finisher about 12 times, is it really a finisher? So at that point, I was like, I don't know. It is what it is. And then I remember Rudy's just like, yeah, it looks weird because he keeps on hitting claymores over and over again. And then I was like, okay. And then I tell Rudy and Henry right there on the spot, I was like, okay, so Drew McIntyre, he's going to go out to the ring, talk shit to Seth, talk shit to CM Punk. Damian Priest is going to come out, cash in Money in the Bank, and become champion. And Rudy's like, what makes you think that's going to happen? And I was like, I'm a wrestling fan. I know these things. And then what happens? Drew McIntyre goes out, talks shit to CM Punk, who attacks him. Then Damian Priest comes out and wins the World Heavyweight Championship. I was like, yeah, that was predictable.
How did that happen though? Like, how did it was? It just how did he like? I don't know what that means.
Okay,
he could just pop in whenever he wants, like in a
so
match?
there's a match called the Money in the Bank match where it's a ladder match between a bunch of wrestlers. Whoever wins the match gets a briefcase. So you climb up and grab the briefcase. In that briefcase is a contract that states you could fight any champion you want at any point in time. So the smart thing to do is wait for a champion to be tired or be, he just got his ass kicked, and that's where you show up with the referee like, I'm fucking cashing in. Let's do it. So yeah,
it made perfect sense because they were building up his the McIntyre, like, oh, he's something about getting that belt, and then he immediately loses it. It made perfect sense.
That and having CM Punk ringside was also key. Punk was feuding with Rollins and with McIntyre, so that's why he was ringside for this match. But he was also out with an injury, hence the arm thing. But it looks like he hasn't recovered. He's not 100% cleared to wrestle, but it looks like he's getting better because he can get a little physical. But yeah, man, there was a video I saw online today, which I thought was hilarious. There's a woman, I wish I knew her social media handle, was watching that, and legit, as she's watching it, she's screaming at her TV. She's like, it gets to the point where CM Punk is already beating up Drew McIntyre, and all she's screaming is like, I fucking told you. I told you. You should have taken your ass to the back. Now Damian Priest, here he is. I fucking told you. You dumb. You deserve this. You did this to yourself. You did this to you. She's just talking shit to Drew McIntyre the whole time. Like, this is incredible. I love this.
That is hilarious.
But yeah, then Damian Priest
He was
comes
so
out.
true though. He
Yeah.
was bad. He should have just basked in his glory, but no, he went over to CM Punk he's saying I don't even know what he said, but even
I couldn't
CM
remember.
Punk was like, "Why are you making your moment about me?" Oh, that's what he
Yeah.
said. He's like, "This is
Yeah.
my moment." It's like,
Yeah, it's like you're making it about me, and then he attacks him, and then we go from there. And hey, at the end of the day, Damian Priest just won his first ever world championship. So congrats to Damian Priest. Out
he
there representing Puerto Rico.
cashed in.
Yep. But anyway, we got that match. And I love the Money in the Bank cash-ins. Those are some of my favorite moments. Let's jump around. Let's talk about LA Knight versus AJ Styles. In all honesty, I went into this match thinking it wasn't going to be anything too memorable. Which sucks because those are two great wrestlers. AJ is he's arguably like one of the best wrestlers ever to like live. AJ Styles is that good. And him versus LA Knight, I don't know. It's just I don't really like this feud. It was an all right match. I mean, how did you feel about it, Disco?
Yeah, I didn't have too much to say about this one.
Yeah. I could. Yeah, we don't really.
BFT to Styles or whatever, and LA Knight
Yeah.
won. I didn't really.
Yeah, that's really all. No, I don't know. Not for me. LA Knight's cool. He has a really cool catchphrase. It's the word "yeah," but it's cool. Yeah, like the way he does it. AJ's a great wrestler. It's just I don't know. It's just something about it. They didn't mesh well for me. Another one. Yeah, go
Are
ahead.
you gonna talk about the Lashley? The Lashley?
I was just about to. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we got Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament. That's Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain. What do you think about that? Oh, with Bubba Ray Dudley as the referee.
With Bubba Ray Dudley as the referee and Snoop Dogg as the guest commentator.
Oh, that's right. Snoop Dogg on commentary was the best part about that match. Yes.
It totally was. I was like, damn, Snoop, he got a stain over here. He's hyping it up. I wrote down some of the quotes from Snoop. He was like,
Please,
watch
yeah.
out, there's metal there. Somebody was getting slammed into the stairs, but like with that Snoop Dogg like voice, I could not. What else did I write? Dudley puts his glasses on.
Yep.
Oh, and I was dying when they were setting up the table. I think Dudley said, "Get the table" or something, and they brought out a table, and like the table broke before they did anything. Get another table.
It happens. Yeah.
I was dying. That table. It's funny too because they were like making it sound like a strong table. Oh, that's a dinner table. Thanksgiving that could hold a lot of weight. Blah blah. They like barely put the dude on and then snapped in half. Like, I was dying. Oh man.
Oh man.
And whoop. And then Snoop also said, "Whoop that trick," quote unquote.
So that's a reference to a wrestler named Trick Williams who won the main event on NXT the day before in another one of the many wrestling shows. His catchphrase is "Whoop that trick." So not whooping somebody who is a trick. They're telling Trick to go whoop that. So Snoop Dogg is a wrestling fan. So he actually got that reference. I was like, oh shit, he watches NXT. Good for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are the main things. Snoop had some of those quotes, and Dudley put his glasses and that table break.
That's a note. Dudley put his glasses on. Like, I understand the impact. It's actually a big deal, but like somebody who doesn't know, it's like, why would they talk about somebody putting on his glasses?
The way the cinematics of it, the way like, and the way the commentators hyped it up, and it's like he just pulled it out.
Snoop Dogg says like, oh, he's putting on his glasses.
It just felt like he's not taking no shit no more. It's on now. And then
Mr. Nice Dudley.
So that was definitely worth the note. Watch the glasses.
100%. All right, so I got that. Let's run to another one real quick. Let's do Io Sky versus Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship. This was right before the main event, but we can talk about it now. So storyline behind this one, and they talked about in the video package, Damage Control, who they had the match the night before. Their leader was Bayley, but the champion was Io. Bayley goes ahead, wins the Rumble, and she's going to announce that she's going to challenge Rhea Ripley for the World Championship. Before she gets a chance to do that, Damage Control decides to talk shit about her, and Bayley revealed, "Hey, I speak Japanese, you bitch. I know what you're saying behind my back. I'm going to choose Io instead." And that's how we got that match. And then they've been feuding since.
This is sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah,
this is actually one of the wrestlers with the knee thing. It wasn't Lynch. Lynch had the fever, but
yeah.
Bailey had the other knee problem. So I was just
Okay, yeah.
like, I thought this was just I guess I was just thinking it's a common theme in the
Yeah.
wrestling world. We're just like, oh,
It is I mean, attacking the
act an
leg.
injury.
Yeah, working the leg is a thing. So the way a wrestling match is traditionally supposed to work is you have the heel goes after a limb or a part of some of the babyface's body, and they work on that, and the babyface is supposed to persevere through and come through. That's like a traditional wrestling match. So that's kind of like what it is. It's yeah, I mean, it could be that. I mean, Bayley does have a history of knee issues. So it's like that's another thing where it's like she wasn't injured per se, but she has been injured in the past. And like you said, you never really come back from a knee injury all the way. So like that's something where for somebody who has knee histories, like if you go against Triple H, who's torn his quads a couple times, like if somebody wrestles Triple H, they tend to go after his legs because of the history there. So it's like it's
Yeah,
all it makes sense logically.
yeah.
But
There's
yeah,
another thing from this match is when they were I guess they're both like straddled up, and then they like countered each other like 5 times in a row, and it was just like one person spins around the other person's back, and then that one spins around that person's back, and then they
yeah,
did that like three
yeah.
more times. I was like, is this real right now?
Yeah, man, it's yeah, man. It's common. It's funny because like I'm thinking about it from like somebody who doesn't watch wrestling all the time. I understand where it's coming from, but it's one of those things where it's just like if you bring up to a wrestling fan where it's like like you grab a wrestler and then you throw them into the ropes and then they run into the ropes and they bounce back, and then somebody who doesn't watch wrestling just says, "Well, why doesn't the person just stop?" And you're like, "Yeah, you're 100% correct. Why did they keep running? They could have just stopped." But it's like that's just when you watch wrestling, you just got to suspend your disbelief at times, and that's one of those situations where it's like they kind of go for the hammerlock, go behind that, do it again, do it again, do it again. And in my mind, I was like, okay, yeah, it's wrestling. It is what it is. Like
I see.
that's
When
what
they're
it is.
wrestling, I just like could not. I was just
Yeah,
like, there's no way that's real. Like, I get
yeah,
it, they're countering each other, but it's
yeah.
the way it looked like this one's behind, this one's back now, and it just flipped and then flipped again. Like,
Oh yeah.
no moves in between. It was just them flipping around each other.
That's
It's
called
like,
that's called chain wrestling, Disco. There's actually a term for it. It's chain wrestling. But
I see.
But one speaking of counters, there was one really cool move towards the end of the match where Bayley tries to hit Io with her finisher, where she kind of like tries to like go forward, and then Io fucking flips out of it, and everyone was like, "Oh shit!" Wasn't expecting that. And then she turns around and Bayley, wins anyway. But great match, man. Those are two great wrestlers. Bayley, this is her first like big WrestleMania moment, so love seeing that she got that because she's been around for a little minute now. So seeing her get that, it's well deserved. Io Shirai. No, they changed her name. Io Sky. Real
Sky,
name's
yeah.
yeah. She was Io Shirai until Vince McMahon got a hold of her. It's like, oh, we're gonna call her Sky. Anyway, Io, badass wrestler. She was another person who was obviously from Damage Control. She used to be tag team with Kairi Sane back in NXT, and then when Kairi came up, they put her with Asuka. Great, great fucking wrestler. Io is one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. Just seeing her, like, I can't imagine her having a bad match. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it's been done. I don't think it can be done.
She's so entertaining. She's like kind of small, petite,
Yeah,
but she
but
like
she
gets
can go.
down. She's slippery, and like
Yeah,
she'll do some weird kicks and high flying stuff and spin
yeah,
around you, and it doesn't she doesn't like let her opponent like strong arm her because
yeah.
she's just so slippery. It's like
I'll never forget. There was once when she was in NXT and she came out and some racist asshole in the ring just shouts, "Go back to China." She turns around in the ring, says, she says, "I'm Japanese, bitch," and just hits a split for no fucking reason. And it was the most badass thing I've ever seen.
that's badass punch. That's drop the mic. That's like even better than drop the mic. You hit a
For real.
split like
It's the best. "I'm Japanese, bitch." Split. Like I go back and watch that clip occasionally. Like, man, Io Shirai's badass. Has a sister who also wrestled in Japan. I believe she had retired due to injury, but the Shirais were badass. You don't fuck with them. Oh man, but anyway, we got that. Let's jump to the U.S. Championship triple threat match between Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and the champion Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
Hey,
I was surprised to see him there. But he didn't do bad. I mean, I guess this is the first time seeing him wrestle. So
you watched WrestleMania last year.
I guess this is the second time I've seen him. The third time, technically, because I forgot the first time.
You saw him wrestle Matt 2 years in a row, or the same show twice, and you forgot both of them.
Yep. But I thought he was like pretty athletic. He was doing some crazy stuff, taking
Logan's
some
a good
good hits,
wrestler.
taking good hits really well,
Yeah.
and like I guess I was just surprised. Like to see him do it pretty well. I feel like I don't know. I feel like he's relatively new, so I haven't really been watching, but he seemed pretty smooth.
Logan Paul's been there for man, dude, it's actually been a couple of years now. Anytime WWE puts on a big show, Logan Paul is wrestling, and he's proven time and time again, like, hey, whether you like him or not, dude can wrestle. Like, he's got the cocky attitude. He's a good heel. He knows how to be a chicken shit heel if he needs to. He was a babyface for a little bit when he actually fought against Roman for the world title in Saudi Arabia a couple years ago, and put on a great show. So it's just like, hey man, Logan Paul could go. And before this match, we had the reverse moment where Kevin Owens is getting ready to go out to the ring, and who's standing there? Sami fucking Zayn. He's like, now it's your turn. I was like, let's fucking go. It is your turn, Kevin. And then he goes out there with the little golf cart. Then Randy Orton comes out and he backs up his golf cart. It's like, come on, Randy, we're friends. And then he goes down and Randy Orton almost falls off the cart. It's incredible. But the match was, I thought overall was
he was shook. He saw his hand like,
he was like, oh, slow down.
Big ass dude. Almost got taken out before the match.
Yeah, for real. So this one leading up, it was just Kevin and Randy forming a friendship and just beating the shit out of Logan Paul. That's what it was leading up to it. So then when we get to the match, it's just more of the same, where they're just friends. Like, hey, we're going up against each other, but let's just beat up Logan Paul first. And everyone's okay with that. So yeah.
Until they realized one of them had to lose.
Well, no, it was that thing where like Randy Orton, because he's Randy Orton, you never trust Randy Orton. That's like a rule. Also, don't trust Kevin Owens. That's another rule. But Randy Orton decides he's gonna hit Kevin Owens with an RKO. And Kevin's like, come on, Randy, really? Now
that was funny. He's like,
do you want to do this now, or do you want?
Don't trust the Viper.
And then they go. Oh.
But yeah, there's a couple moments in that one. I like when Randy Orton did a double rope drop. I don't even know what to call it, but he had like both of them in the ropes and did some crazy shit. Hello?
There we go. Yeah, no, I can hear you now. My internet was screwing up, I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna say it again. A few moments that I liked were when Randy Orton like had a double rope drop. I don't know what it's called technically, but like
the double
he had them both in the ropes, and then he just like
the hanging DDT. Yeah, we had that. And then Logan Paul comes out on top, and he wins. I don't remember how it finished.
He pulled out brass knuckle.
That's right.
And then RKO took him from. He got him from him, and then he gave it to the ref. He played honorably. And then the Prime bottle saved Logan, and then the Prime bottle. The Prime bottle.
He's a famous streamer. His name
Speed.
is like Speed. Yeah, I Show Speed. That's what it is.
And then Randy Orton did some. I don't know what move he did, but I think he RKO'd I Show Speed.
He either RKO'd him onto the thing or threw him. I think it was an RKO. Yeah, it was an RKO onto the table. Yes.
Onto the table, the outside table, and then Logan Paul got him on the inside. I think while he was distracted with I Show Speed, he got the advantage again and just he got the win. Logan Paul kept the belt.
There was so I mean it was like I said, the finish was to be honest not that memorable for me. The match itself I feel like it was entertaining enough though. At least the beginning parts. And then I did see a post online where I Show Speed. It was just a picture of him looking like all tired and dejected. And then I think it said like, this shit is real.
he was in for like 2 minutes. He got bodied.
I'm telling you, and that's just what Randy does. So that's everything with the exception of the main event. So let's get to that. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship of the world. The rematch.
Bloodline rules.
Bloodline rules means hardcore match, which means Extreme Rules match, which means no holds barred match. We've had this match for years. They just changed the name. They just keep changing the name. We know what it is. Just call it the same thing.
It's just like no rules match. Just fucking do
That's all
whatever
it
you
is.
want
It's
in it.
also a no DQ match. Like this, it goes by so many different names. Like, dude, we get it. Hey, and they were just like, "What does Bloodline Rules mean?" And the leading up to it, I was like, "I guarantee it's something we've all seen before." And that's exactly what it was.
It
But
really was.
they go out, they're having a good match. Now, this is Roman Reigns has been champion for 1,316 days at this point. Cody is won back-to-back Royal Rumbles. First person to do that since Stone Cold? Was it? Yeah, since Stone Cold did back in the 90s, and before him, Hogan. The only 3 wrestlers to win back-to-back Rumbles. So Cody goes out there, they're having a back and forth match, traditional match, and then it's pretty solid, it's pretty good, it's pretty back and forth. Paul Heyman's face and reactions are priceless. And then we get to the quote unquote bloodline rules portion of the match where everybody you've ever seen has interfered in this match.
They really did. I was like, oh, okay.
So what was your reaction? Because I knew people were going to show up in the match. You didn't. So I'm very curious to see what you thought of that.
I was just thought it was gonna be like a final match. I thought it was gonna be those two.
Yeah.
And then they had like a short stint where just everyone and their mom jump in the ring. It
Well,
was
that's the thing.
cool, like
So
the Usos,
exactly.
and
So
then
Jimmy shows up,
Solo, and
then
then
Jay shows up,
Cena, and then The Rock. Like
yeah,
it was
and
just a
Taker.
whole slew of people. The Taker, yeah, just all the
Yeah, and Seth Rollins
randomest
was in there
people.
in the
I
middle.
feel like
But
for
yeah,
like 2
so
seconds.
with Jimmy, so Jimmy shows up, and I was just like, once I realized it was just Jimmy and not Jimmy with Solo, I was like, okay, we're gonna kind of like stagger this out a little bit. So Jimmy shows up, and then Jay shows up, but he does that thing where wrestlers go to save other wrestlers, but instead of going out and helping them immediately, they pander to the crowd just a little bit and let their theme song play. Like, dude, Cody's getting attacked. Like, what? Hurry, I'll help him. You know?
They gotta vibe off that music first.
So they go out, they fight out to the ramp, and then they tackle each other off the ramp and die. Like that's it. They're never seen again until
That
at the
really
very
did
end.
happen. He tackled him into oblivion. He was just like, brother. They flew into the volcano.
Yep. And then we have after that, Solo comes out, and with Solo, they stayed on it a little bit because that's what happened last year, where Cody was gonna beat Roman. At the very end, Solo shows up, and because of Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns keeps the title at WrestleMania 39. So WrestleMania 40, Solo comes out and he's doing the thing. He thinks that he has Cody beat, and Cody's still kicking out. Solo starts yelling at Roman. He's like, "Dude, pin him, get on him." Roman's like, "I know, I'm trying."
He
And
really
then,
was.
yeah,
He was damn near just about to put him on. I'm just like, go.
yeah. And then out comes John Cena. Now, John Cena and Solo have had a little bit of a feud. Whenever Cena shows up, he fights people here and there. Like I said, he doesn't put himself in the main event, but he did fight Solo at one of the most recent big shows, and Solo beat him. So to have him come out to be the one to go after Solo makes sense. So he goes out there, he hits the AA. Solo Sikoa is out for the match. After that happens, we got The Rock shows up. The Rock, we all knew he was going to show up. He once again he took his time a little bit going to the ring. Oh, that's another thing. WrestleMania Night 40. They all
Final
took their
boss.
time. Yeah, they all took their time getting to the ring in the main event. But my God, The Rock took like a fucking hour to get to the ring. That's a whole nother thing I forgot to mention.
He had those like linens on too. He was really trying to do up the boss, the final boss, like slogan.
And that's
or
another
persona.
thing. He stole that name from a wrestler who stole that name for another wrestler who stole that name from Samoa Joe. There have been so many final bosses in WWE in just wrestling, period. Now here comes The Rock all of a sudden. Oh, I'm the fun. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, as you can see, I don't like The Rock. Anyway, he comes out there, and Rock and Cena have had their feuds in the past where Rock would show up from Hollywood, and all of a sudden win world titles he shouldn't have won. So having him take out Cena makes sense. Then Seth Rollins comes out and immediately gets attacked. And then it's like Rock is in there, and I'm thinking, okay, who's going to come out to stop The Rock? And I'm trying to think, what's a big name, somebody from the past that they could bring up that would make sense? Rock is feuded with Foley. I know Foley was trying to get back into wrestling. Maybe it's him. Stone Cold was just recently posting some stuff. He's had feuds with The Rock. Maybe it's him. And then we hear the gong. Everything turns dark. Undertaker shows up. And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, why the fuck is Taker helping Cody? This doesn't make any sense. But okay, I'll take it. So Taker chokeslams The Rock, gong, everything turns black, and the old man disappears. Funny thing is, there's a video that was surfacing online where you actually got to see Undertaker with a bunch of security running away. And it's the funniest thing. He's not moving fast, but he looks like he's moving fast. You know what I'm saying? Like,
one of those inaction pictures.
For real. So anyway, he stops The Rock, and then we get Cody and Roman. That's it. 1-on-1 again. Cody hits his finisher on Roman 3 times, which is something he's starting to do lately. And he does it. He finishes the story. He becomes the undisputed world heavyweight champion and ends the biggest wrestling streak in modern day history. And the crowd goes wild. So what'd you think of that match, Disco?
That one was all over the place.
Yeah.
Roman did the crossroads to Cody. I thought that was pretty fucked up.
He did.
That was messed up. He pretty much used his own move. I think that's pretty disrespectful, especially when you needed like 1 million people to come out to save you. Overall, I think it's concluded a whole saga. I've been I don't remember. I've been watching.
You were there for it.
For last year, I've been here for this saga, and Cody finally gets to, solidify his bloodline and honor his father, and really, because I thought he was going to take it last year too. Actually, it would have been cool. I would have been happy if he would have took it, and then he didn't get it. So now it's like finally they dragged it on the suspense, and he also finally took Roman off his crazy 1,000+ day streak or whatever it is. So it's always nice when you see those Titans fall, and I think Cody was the man for it. He did amazing out there. He has that following and the persona for it, and the build, man, because Romans is a huge mother effer. So you got to have another like strong fellow to combat him, and I think Cody was just like the perfect person, and he definitely deserves his shine. He worked hard for it, and they put on a heck of a match, and even though there was like 1 million people, it was entertaining.
Yeah, seeing Cody win it was great. Before the match even started, he goes out there with his wife, Brandy Rhodes. Was she there, or was that Raw that I'm thinking of? It was WrestleMania, right?
I don't know if that was Saturday or Sunday. I think it
would have been Sunday.
I think he did have the wife out.
But you did see his wife come out, is what I'm saying, because I can't remember if it was Monday Night Raw.
I know. I think his parents came out.
Well, yeah, his mom was there both nights, along with his stepfather. But I'm just saying, he walked out to the ring with his wife.
I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I think that might have just been Monday Night Raw, and I'm mixing up my days because that was the day after.
But I feel like Roman was talking shit to his wife, so I could be wrong on that.
Well, I remember The Rock was talking shit to his mom the whole time.
Okay. Maybe I'm mixing that.
Well, I know that for a fact. I know Brandy. I'm pretty sure Brandy Rhodes was there at the end of the thing where everybody was in the ring, like all the wrestlers showed up. And they're all holding Cody up. And it was a really cool moment. You don't get to see something like that often because it's like I mentioned before, this truly is a new era. It's officially like the Triple H era of wrestling. Like Vince McMahon has nothing to do with WWE. And this is storyline wise truly run by Triple H. And, as a Triple H run show, it wasn't bad, man. The guy has been putting on, good shows. WWE has been selling out. This was like their 18th show in a row that was a full sellout, which is crazy. Like Triple H is killing it, man. And everybody in WWE is really praising him. So love to see that. When he was running NXT a couple years ago and Vince was running WWE, I remember thinking like, man, Triple H's NXT is so much better. Just give this guy a chance. and they did. And here you go. This is it. At first, there was sometimes it was a little bit rocky, and I was iffy about it, but Triple H is coming into his own, and he's making WWE a lot better. So shout out to him. Shout out to Cody, like you said, and everything. Shout out to Roman, who's killed it on this run, man. Like, dude's badass. Roman Reigns, when he was part of the Shield, he was like a 3-man group, and they pushed him to be like the star of that. And I was like, man, he really is the worst person out of the three of them. It was him, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins. I was like, the other two are so much better than them. You just like this guy because he's related to the other Samoans and he's big. That's it. That's the only reason why you like him.
He's
And
got the long, dreamy hair.
Yeah, and dude, he sucked on the mic. He was the worst wrestler out of the three. And then they made him a babyface. Like, he's the star. He's gonna fight Brock Lesnar every year. I was like, dude, he's not good. Make this guy a fucking heel and let's see what he could do. And they wouldn't do. And then finally, COVID happens. He disappears for a bit. He comes back with Paul Heyman, and he's a heel. And boom, Roman Reigns is a goddamn superstar. Like, they should have made him a heel a long time ago. And I always said, dude, he would be such a good heel, and he proved it. So, good to see. Overall, it wasn't a bad Mania, man. It was WrestleMania 39 had its moments here and there, just like 40. But I feel like in the end, 40 might have been a little bit better. I'm biased. I still like WrestleMania 35, the one I went to live in person. That was a great one. Becky Lynch was in the main event against Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey. Kofi Kingston won the World Heavyweight Championship against Daniel Bryan. I got to see Kurt Angle's last match live. John Cena showed up with his old rapper gimmick. So I got to see a lot of cool shit in person. And then, so I'm a little biased. WrestleMania 20 was a great one too, but overall it wasn't a bad show, man. And you, a wrestling fan, watched the whole thing. So, kudos to you.
Honestly, I'm probably gonna keep the streak going. I'm pretty sure next year Eslam's gonna be on the month of Ramadan too.
Yeah, more or less it should be around this time, I'm guessing. I know it changes over time.
Now that I have 2 under my belt, I might as well.
2.5.
Two.
Hey, and fun fact, we almost did an Elimination Chamber episode. Remember that was something you considered. I was like, what if we do this for an episode? Then I saw the Elimination Chamber and said, Disco, we need to come up with another episode idea.
Oh yeah. You're just like, this was not it. That's
like, it wasn't the worst show, but I was just like, I know there's not going to be really that much to talk about. Like, here we actually had stuff to talk about. But yeah, man, wasn't bad. Thank you for watching it, Disco. Everybody who stuck around for all this, thank you for watching us talk about it. Let us know what you thought of it as well. WrestleMania. Disco, is there anything else you want to mention on that? Or do you want to jump in the final thoughts? How do you want to do it?
Yeah, just leave a comment if you're like me, just somebody that kind of barely watches wrestling and stumbled upon it. I want to hear your comments to see what caught your eye, because I feel like I like the randomest stuff. And then it was just really nice to actually hear the background from Dan over here, so to get more context on what I really saw. But overall, I it was quite the experience. It was long, I'll say that, but overall, I think I enjoyed I think it would be better if I saw it with you, or like, on video call, or with you in general, and Ruby, I guess.
Let's see if we can do that. Let's see if one day there is a big wrestling show, if we could do it so you get to hear me complain. Because Rudy finds entertaining his girlfriend Jazz. She loves it. Henry likes it. Eslam enjoys when I talk about it, like you've mentioned in the past. So it's like, hey, let's see if we can get a wrestling show where I'm just talking to you guys about wrestling as you're watching it.
Live, we can live Twitch it and just have your live response to.
I'm gonna have the most random bullshit. I was like, yeah, why'd they fucking do a leg drop? Should have been an elbow. Some random shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, man. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything other than that, or?
No, I think that was it. That's the majority of where my brain's been for the past, just working and wrestling, which is
same
a crazy change of pace for me. I almost think about wrestling 0% of the time. So just getting into this world and seeing all the nostalgia, because I was into it when I was younger, but after watching it now, so I had to get over some of like the fake stuff. I think it was with in the season WrestleMania 39 with the Sheamus and the McIntyre and the
Gunther.
Gunther, where they just kept slapping each
Just
other.
beating the shit out. So
That
there's nothing fake about that. That's like, so you have like the slams and everything. Those slaps hurt more than anything else.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Those are real slaps, but it's just so funny seeing the grown men. Like
Yeah,
you can literally see Sheamus's like
that's what I'm
chest
saying. Yeah,
red.
like
Like
they're
you
just
know they're
yeah.
getting real hits, but like it's just kind of weird seeing grown men slap each other.
Oh yeah,
I guess I'm used to punching and stuff and then like kicks, but it's interesting seeing like grown brolic dudes just really
yeah,
slap the crap out of the. Especially
yeah,
Sheamus's chest is like no hair. It's just
yeah. It's just yeah,
super pale white and then red.
yeah. Just handprints all over this man.
But yeah, so there was like a lot of slapping in that match. So I was like, I had to get over myself and be like, this
Yeah,
is
that's
just
legit one of my favorite
it's,
WrestleMania matches
it's
like ever.
some of the just the idiosyncrasies of wrestling. Just
Yeah,
kind of like the rope run you were saying. It's just got to get over it. Just some of
yeah,
the things just to keep the the plot going and the uh just to keep
yeah.
the wrestling flowing, I guess.
Yeah, at the end, like I always say, you got to suspend your disbelief. I mean, hell, I wrote a whole blog about it on the Los Wise Guys, website. But hey, there's multiple ways to react to if somebody tells you, "Hey, wrestling's not real," right? One of my favorites is always lean into it, where somebody, if they do say something along the lines of, wrestling's not real, right? That's where you're coming like, no, it's 100% true. That guy, the Undertaker, the dude died like 17 times. Obviously, it's fucking real. Like dude, any idiot with two eyes could tell you, like, okay, we get it. That's not why we're watching it, So
And I guess that kind of goes back to when I'm like, oh, I thought he was faking the knee injury because it's
yeah,
like it's real to an extent, but it's also fake.
and
So I'm
that's the
like,
beauty of
what's
wrestling.
what's real
What
and
is
fake?
real?
Is he really
Exactly.
hurt? So I
That's why
I found
wrestling's so good.
myself
It's just
kind
like,
of
yeah,
totally just leaning into it. I think that's the perfect way to put it. You just gotta lean into
yeah,
it.
yeah. Especially modern day
No.
wrestling, they know that the internet's out there, and there's fans like me who are paying attention to who's doing what. So they take advantage of a fan like me, and they're just like, okay, we know that they're doing this, so let's lean into it and try to make that into a storyline, like they did with the whole Rock taking over Cody's spot. Where it's just like, okay, Rock's gonna do it, and then they're like, no, fuck it, everybody's pissed. Let's make it look like Rock took over, and let's make that into a storyline, and it worked. So it's just like, that's what it is. You blend the reality with the wrestling, and what you get is what you see on TV. So that's the beauty of it, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll make that my final thought. Also, tonight there's an episode of AEW Dynamite. Obviously, I'm not watching it because I'm doing this. There's some very controversial shit that's supposed to happen on there. So controversial to the point that I'm hoping they just don't do it. If it does occur, there's a very good chance there's going to be an episode of Powerbomb Weekly coming up. I just really hope it's not happening. That's all I'm saying. If you want to know what I'm talking about, let's be here next week, and maybe I will. We'll see.
Or 2 weeks.
But yeah, 2 weeks. Thank you. But yeah, man. With that being said, everybody who stuck around, who flipped around, who checked us out, who watched Mania, wanted to see our opinions. If you agree or disagree, thank you for sticking around, and don't forget to go ahead and like, subscribe, share, and comment below. Tell us what you thought. We already told you, but tell us again. Fuck it. Give us 2 comments. I don't give a damn. Tell us what's going on. Tell us how you feel. And tell us about WrestleMania. Tell us about the podcast. You can always go to loswiseguys.com. Once again, like I said, there's a blog about how I talk about how to respond to wrestling on there, which I haven't thought about in years, but that's on there. You can check that out along with everything else going on, like the Fantasy League. Also, be sure to check us out in our social medias. They're down below. LWG_Eslam, Emperor.disco, LWG_Dan Rosado. Check that out. Hit us up on social media. I don't mind interacting with people from time to time. Just the other day, I posted, I commented on somebody's thing on Twitter. I do that. So, we're out there. So check us out in all those things. And as always, thank you for tuning into the Los Wise Guys podcast. Thank you for checking us out on YouTube. Thank you for checking us out on twitch.tv/Los Wise Guys. And have a good night. Oof.
You
I
made
tell
it.
you,
Your back's gonna explode. I feel like as soon as
I'm in
you get
so
up,
much
it's
pain.
like
I'm in so much pain. You see how red I am? That's just all back pain.
Damn, my dude's gonna have to take double his medicine.
Dude, I
Back
mean,
massage.
yeah, it's
What
bad.
happened? Was it working out or just
I mean,
sitting?
I as you know, I got the bad back. I've had bad back for years, but yeah, man, I was doing I did back day and I did a lot of weight and I felt fine throughout the whole day. Then the next week came and I was doing arms. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go heavier. I'm trying to go a little bit heavier every time. And I picked up some dumbbells the wrong way.
Oh,
And
you
that's
should have
there it
done.
is. There
You
it is.
used your back instead of your knees.
Now, here's the thing, Disco. When a man has a bad back, but also has very bad knees, how's he supposed to pick up heavy weights? He
He
doesn't.
doesn't.
He shouldn't be
You're
going
not
to the
supposed
gym.
to.
Yeah.
So, roll up in your wheelchair.
And that's the thing. It's just like I need to pick this up, but it's like I can't get too low because my knees are fucked. So it's just like I'm really legit. How do I do this?
Ask somebody else for some help. Is from 35s. Hey, can you help me pick up this weight?
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So it's like tomorrow is supposed to be back day. I'm actually going to sit it out because even though my back has been feeling this way, I have not stopped. I've continued to go and I've continued to do back day. So it's just like, that's not smart either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep working out. I'm going to skip back day maybe for a week, 2, maybe 3. We'll see how I feel. Hey, while I was waiting for you to come online, I was looking up chiropractors.
Oh
So,
yeah. Definitely leave the back out for a little bit and try to work other muscle groups, maybe your legs
100%.
or your
100%. Anyway,
you got to
you guys.
strengthen that core too. Usually that helps.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. And that's another thing. A lot of core workouts involve like basically your back having to do
Your
something.
back, yeah.
So it's like I'm struggling to do those.
Dan's like, spot me on some 10-pound dumbbells. Ah!
I'm telling you, man. But hey, it is what it is. We are still live on Twitch, so everybody who's watching me talk about my back pain and everything that's going on, appreciate that. That's just for you. YouTube kids don't get to see that. That's
Happy birthday, Henry, if you're still there.
Yes,
we love you.
Thank you. Happy birthday to you, sir. But I'm going to go ahead and end this. Once again, thank you guys for sticking around here on twitch.tv/thosewise guys. And hey, check us out on all the other stuff we talked about too, all right? For some reason, our social media is still down there. So if you haven't followed or responded to us by now, what the fuck are you waiting for? But I'm going to go ahead and end this, all right, guys?
Peace.
Thank you. Have a good night. Take care, Twitch.